What is up, guys, and welcome back to another video. Well. Alabama are your SEC champions. Roll, Tide, roll. They doubted us. We were underdogs. They picked against us, and we showed up, and we played out. Roll, Tide, roll. I'm so happy and excited about that. But I will get towards that at the end of the video, or towards the end of the video. First, I'm going to recap the week, including all the championship games, and then I'm going to give you in my opinion, what my top 10 at the end of the regular season plus conference championship week, what it looks like after all that. But if you are watching, I make college football videos. I do discussions and top 10s, Heisman, predictions, all that fun stuff. And coming up, it's highlight season. I'm going to be making all types of highlights. If you like to watch highlights, I'm going to be doing that. You can go ahead and start dropping suggestions. But yeah, if you love college football, you'll love my channel. Please consider liking and subscribing if you like the video. Let's get right into it. So, in the CUSA Championship, UTSA beat Western Kentucky 49-41. I predicted this one pretty much right. I said UTSA would win by 14. Won by 8. Wasn't too far off. I got the winner right. Yeah, Western Kentucky, obviously, the quarterback, Zappe, he's very, very good. And he may be a group of 5 quarterback. Don't get me wrong. I don't think he's as good as Joe Burrow, like some people say, but whatever. But he's still a very good quarterback, but UTSA just has a very good team, and happy for them winning their first CUSA championship. The MAC, Northern Illinois beat Kent State 41-23. I predicted Kent State in the upset. It didn't quite happen, like at all. But it is what it is. Congrats to Northern Illinois on winning the MAC. Mountain West, Utah State beat San Diego State 46-13. Woo boy. Wow. This was a surprise right here. I did not expect this. San Diego State has looked impeccable all season, and they just went out flat. Utah State beat the brakes off of them 46-13. I definitely got that one wrong. The Sun Belt, I predicted App State in the upset, but Louisiana Lafayette beat them 24-16. App State played a close game, but Louisiana was just the better team. Hats off to Louisiana on winning the Sun Belt. Then our last group of 5 won the American Athletic Conference Championship. Cincinnati beat Houston 35-20. I got this one right. I thought it'd be a bit closer game. I said by 4. They won by 15. But I still did predict Cincinnati to win, and I was right. Cincinnati moves on to the playoffs. They got the number 4 spot, and they're going to play Alabama in the semifinals, and I'll get to that in a later video. Starting off our Power 5 championships, in the Pac-12, Utah beat Oregon 38-10. I thought Oregon would win the rematch. Absolutely not. Utah dominated this game. They did not let Anthony Brown do a thing to them. I mean, Oregon's offense just couldn't do anything. It was very pathetic to watch. Utah decimated them. Hats off to Utah on winning the Pac-12. The ACC Championship. I got this one right. Pitt beat Wake Forest 45-21. I did say it'd be a closer game, but I predicted the winner of Pitt. Kenny Pickett, very good quarterback. Did y'all see that fake slide he did? If you haven't, just Google Kenny Pickett fake slide. Was it kind of like a play that kind of should be like illegal in a way? Yeah, it's like a cheesy play, but still very smart by him. I've been saying for a few weeks now that Kenny Pickett, as of right now, December 6th, I believe it is, 2021, Kenny Pickett is my QB1 for the NFL draft coming up. And he showed out last night. Big Ten, Michigan embarrassed Iowa, 42-3. I mean, this one was not close. Michigan tore through Iowa. I mean, it was a slow start, really, but I mean, they just got the brakes pumping, and they just didn't stop. I mean, if Iowa had any semblance of an offense, maybe they could have compete, but they didn't, and they didn't compete, and they got blew out. So, congrats to Michigan winning the Big Ten and moving on to the playoffs, number 2, where they will play number 3 Georgia, which we will talk about in a bit. The Big 12 championship, Oklahoma State with playoff hopes got upset by the Baylor Bears, 21-16. And guess who predicted this one? Y'all called me crazy. Everyone had Oklahoma State winning, but not me. I predicted Baylor in the upset, and I was right. By inches, though. Another one of these things. Google Baylor, Oklahoma State ending 2021. Man, he was inches away from the goal line. I mean, 4th down, 30 seconds left in the game. A touchdown wins it. Take the lead. Oklahoma State takes it. He runs to the edge. I mean, he was just inches away from the end zone. It was insane. Good job on Baylor. Congrats on winning the Big 12. And then, the big game of the week. The one everyone was talking about before and after. The SEC Championship. Alabama upset the Georgia Bulldogs 41-17. And I did predict Alabama to win. Now, I said Alabama would win by 1. No. Or 41-24. I got the score wrong, my bad. 41-24. Anyways, Alabama did not win by 1. They decimated Georgia. I mean, they did not make this game really look all that competitive. If Alabama could have fixed a few mistakes, and I know I'm nitpicking, we just did all this, but if Alabama could have fixed a few mistakes, this easily could have been a 20-30 point game. I mean, Alabama played amazing. Roll Tide, roll. You doubted us. 6.5 point underdogs. Everyone I knew. I mean, I had at least 30 people I talked to after the game that said Georgia was going to beat Alabama. And I got to talk all my smack. It was wonderful. But yeah, everyone was picking against Bama. And you simply don't do that. Nick Saban is the GOAT. Bryce Young just locked up the Heisman Trophy this weekend with this performance. I mean, the most total yards and the most passing yards in the SEC Championship game history. If I'm right, I believe I am. I know I'm right on the passing yards one. I believe he's the leader in total yards too. And this was supposed to be one of the best defenses of all time. Better than the 2011 Bama defense. Better than the 2001 Miami defense. No. They were averaging 7 points a game. And Alabama tore through them. I did not see Jordan Davis all game. He did not make an impact. He was not in the backfield. He did not even get a hand on Bryce Young's jersey from what I saw. I mean, that's really one of my main takeaways here, is that not only did Bryce Young play well, don't get me wrong, but that Alabama offensive line stepped to the occasion. I mean, they had problems against Auburn last week, and the only thing I heard all week was, y'all gonna lose to Georgia, y'all barely beat Auburn, y'all gonna lose to Georgia. Well, guess what? We didn't. That offensive line absolutely stepped up. Hats off to Nick Saban and Doug Marrone for making adjustments. Amazing. And I could go on for several years about this game. But at the end of the day, Alabama is SEC champions. Roll Tide, roll. Now, let's get into my final top 10 for the regular season plus the conference championship. If I were doing the playoff and it came down to just me, this would be my seeding. Number 10, we have the Ole Miss Rebels. Only losses coming to number 1 Alabama and a 6-6 Auburn team. But you know Auburn, they're dangerous. Maybe I'll give them a little bit of credit. At number 9, I have the Pittsburgh Panthers. And I know they lost to Western Michigan earlier in the year. But I really think that was just a slip up. Like I said, Kenny Pickett, amazing quarterback, played amazing this weekend, and I think Pitt's a really good team, and they're a team one slip up away from potentially being a college football playoff team. And number 8, I have Michigan State. I mean, I know they got blew out by Ohio State, but I mean, when your only losses come to 2 teams ranked in the top 6, you got to give them some credit. I got Michigan State at 8. And number 7, I have Ohio State. They lost the game, and they lost to Oregon, and Oregon is not the same Oregon they lost to. I do not know how Oregon beat them on the road earlier in the year. I just don't know how. But Ohio State still at 7. Part of what's lifting them up is the eye test. Ohio State straight up just looks good. I think they're a really good team. We'll see how they do in the Rose Bowl. Starting out, my top 6. The first 2 out. Number 6, Baylor. Only a 2-loss team. And they went out and beat the Oklahoma State Cowboys this weekend. They deserve credit. Dave Aranda, Baylor's head coach, deserves a lot of credit. Very great head coach. At number 5, first one out, I have Notre Dame. Only lost 1 game all year. But it was to Cincinnati. A top 4 team. And I get that, but I mean, the top 4 teams were just so good this year, I couldn't include them. Plus, Brian Kelly left, and I'm not factoring that too much. I'm not like, oh, Brian Kelly left, I'm going to rank y'all down. No, I mean, it would have been the same way either way, but, I mean, these players have put in all the work. For me to just judge them off their coach leaving is very unfair. But, I mean, either way, like I said, they still be at 5. Starting off my top 4. I have Georgia at number 4 and Alabama at number 1. And honestly, I think the committee would rank them like that, but no one wants to see Alabama and Georgia rematch after they just played. It's hard to gain hype for that. I mean, but I do have Georgia number 4 if I was strictly ranking them off what I think the top 4 teams are. Georgia number 4. Cincinnati number 3. 13-0 conference championship. They did it all. They beat Notre Dame. They had an amazing year. Still a group of 5 team. And the eye test is really giving it to these top 2 teams. But yeah, Cincinnati. I mean, I said way earlier in the season. You can go back to like week 4, week 3. I said Cincinnati was a real team. And that I usually do not like group of 5 teams. Because I usually do not. At all. But I told you the Cincinnati team was legit. Especially after they beat Notre Dame. And here they are in the college football playoff. And then my final 2 in my poll. Number 2, Michigan. Number 1, Alabama. Now, I could really see you making a case for number 1, Michigan, 2, Alabama. I could see that case made. But to me, the ultimate thing that gives Alabama the edge is the eye test. Because that is something that factors. I factor strength of schedule, who they want, who's their best wins, who's their best losses, how they've been doing lately, blah, blah, blah. But one of the things I also factor into my rankings is eye test. And Alabama just beat the Georgia Bulldogs, supposed to be one of the best defenses ever. A team that was solid all throughout the regular season. I mean, they just embarrassed them in Atlanta. And I think that gives Alabama the edge at number 1. Michigan number 2. Alabama number 1. And you can call me a homer if you really think Michigan should be number 1. Not that many people do. But if you really think they should be number 1, you can call me a homer. But go back through my other top 10s. I have been very harsh on Alabama this season in my rankings. They only climbed back into my top 4 last week. I've had them out of my top 4 for the entirety of the season since they've lost to Texas A&M. After they lost A&M, I've had them out of the top 4 this entire season until last week. So, I think I'm pretty fair when it comes to my team, Alabama. But I don't think there's much denying that they are number one. Roll Tide roll. Well, let me know, what do you think? What's your top 10? Do you think the College Football Playoff Committee got it right? And what's your thoughts on the games? Man, we had a slate of games this weekend, and of course the main storyline heading it is Alabama winning the SEC. I am just a happy little Bama fan right now. But this will be all for right now. I'll see you in another video. Roll Tide roll.